Good day. Welcome, my dear students, to the online lecture series of Mechanics of Solids. And this session is the introductory portion of the subject Mechanics of Solids. In your last semester, you have studied engineering mechanics. Engineering mechanics, basically, you studied two branches of engineering mechanics, that is statics and second one is dynamics. Statics and dynamics are deals primarily with the force and motion associated with the particles and rigid bodies. So in statics and dynamics, you develop a relationship between force and external effects for a rigid body. For a rigid body. And what is a rigid body? A body which does not undergo any deformation, that means change in size and shape on the application of external force, that is called rigid body. So for example, for this body, if this body is a rigid body, when I apply a sufficient amount of load on this body, there will not be any change in size and shape of the body. Then we can say this is a rigid body, and that the applied load may be very huge, but if there is no change in size and shape, then we can say this is a rigid body. But unfortunately, in our nature, every body or every materials are deformable bodies. There is no rigid body in this nature. When we apply sufficient amount of load, every body starts to deform or change in size and shape. So in statics and dynamics, we deals with the rigid body, or we assume that all bodies in this nature are rigid body. Then we derive the relationship of force and different external effects on the body. And in applied mechanics or engineering mechanics, there is one more branch that is called mechanics of solids. And in mechanics of solids, we deals with the deformable body. So what is a deformable body? A deformable body is one that undergoes deformation, that means change in size and shape on the application of external force. For example, if we consider this sponge material, when I apply force on this sponge material, it starts to deform. So we can say this is a deformable body. Similarly, here I am applying the same force on this body, but we cannot see any type of deformation for this body. But if I apply a sufficient amount of load on this body also starts to deform. Similarly, any body, diamond, steel, any body in this nature starts to deform when it is subjected to sufficient amount of external force. So we can say every body in this nature is a deformable body. And this mechanics of solid subjects deals with this type of body called deformable body. Another difference between this statics, dynamics and mechanics of solids is that in statics and dynamics mainly we examine the external effects on a rigid body. We only concentrate on the external effects. For example, when I apply a force on this body, it starts to move. That is an external effect. So what are the external effects when a body is subjected to external force? That is actually examining on statics and dynamics. But in mechanics of solids, we are dealing with the internal effects. What are the internal effects on the body when it is subjected to external force? For example, if we consider this body, and here I am applying an external force on this body, and when I apply external force P on this body, what happened inside? What are the internal forces developed inside the body? So that is actually we examine in this mechanics of solids. And internal effects of the externally applied load and the deformation that are caused within the body because of the externally applied load is actually examined in mechanics of solids. So these are the two important points in mechanics of solid. The first one is deformable body, that is second one is internal effects. So here in mechanics of solid, here in our subject, we eliminate the assumption every bodies are rigid body. We are dealing with a deformable body. We are dealing with a deformable body. That means the body which is subjected to, or the body which is deformed when it is subjected to external force. And second point, important point of mechanics of solids is that we are actually examining the internal effects on a body due to external force. So keep these 2 points in mind. This is very important. Deformable body and internal effects. When you look into this subject, mechanics of solids, you can see different names for the subjects. You can see different names for the books, as well as for different universities are using different names for the subject. First name is mechanics of solids. Second one is mechanics of materials. Third one is mechanics of deformable body. And fourth one is strength of material. So different names are used to use for the subject mechanics of solid, but for every name the content inside the all this under these names are same. Okay, so you may see different textbook with these 4 names, and but the content inside this textbooks are same. Next, design process. Design is a very important stage or step in a product development, because without any design we cannot develop an optimum product, optimum safe stable product. So design is a very important stage in a product development. So what is the output from the design? So from the design we can find out the material of the product, and which a member is to make, and the detailed dimensions of the member and shape of the member to ensure the safety of the member for its intended for doing its intended functions. So first one is material. While designing a member, we should select a material for the member. Second one is detailed dimensions. We can split that into shape and size of the member, and detail what is the cross section, what is the size of the cross section, what is the length, everything comes under this shape and size. So we should select the material, shape and size of the member. That is the design process. And the material with a particular shape and size should hold a particular load during carrying out the intended functions. That is design. To ensure the safety of any structural members, is very essential to make them with their safe, stable under loads exerted on it during any expected use. And to ensure the safety and stable condition of the member, we should eliminate the different failure conditions of the member. And what are the different failure conditions of the member? Different types of failure. The first type of failure is fracture failure. Fracture. The material or the component completely fracture under external load. For example, if you take this paper, here I am applying a pulling force on this paper, and this paper completely fractured. So this is the first type of failure, fracture failure. The cracks will be generated, and then next stage the crack propagated, and finally leads to the failure of the member. That is the first mode of failure, fracture. Second mode of failure is the severe deformation. Severe deformation. That is also another mode of failure. For example, consider a shaft which is used to transfer the power from engine to wheel. A shaft which is used to transfer the power from engine to wheel, and this is a shaft, and here I am using a bearing for the support at the center. Okay, so here when I apply a particular load on this shaft, a vertical point load on the shaft, what happened? The shaft starts to deflect. For example, this is the final position of the shaft after deflection. But during this time also, during this deflection time also, the shaft can transfer the power from engine to wheel without any safety issues. And again I increase this load. Again I increase this vertical load, and shaft subjected to severe deflection or severe deformation. So this is the final position of the shaft when you apply an additional load on the shaft. So during this condition, the shaft can transfer the load from engine to wheel, because we can see here this is a deflected position, so it cannot transfer the power from engine to wheel, and there will be a mismatch because this bearing is used to support this shaft, and when the shaft deflects like this, there will be a mismatch between the bearing and the shaft. So here we can see this severe deflection of the shaft a failure, because it cannot do its intended functions. So the severe deformation or severe deflection is also can be treated as a failure of a member. And third one is the unstable condition. That is also another mode of failure. For example, consider a column which is used to transfer the load from the roof to ground. Here a load P is acting on this column. It's a vertical member. When a load P is acting on the member, it starts to buckle. This is the buckling of the column. A small deflection on the column. This is a buckling. Small deflection on the column. But during this time also it can transfer load P from the roof to ground. So it can do its intended function without any fracture or without any failure. But if I increase the load P, it starts to buckle in a severe manner, extensively. So this is the final position after severe buckling. And in this condition, the column is not in the equilibrium condition. So this is an unstable condition. Okay, any time it can fail by fracture. So instability is also another mode of failure. So these are the three modes of failure: fracture, severe deformation, and unstable conditions. And while designing any structural member, we should ensure that the structure should do its intended function without any fracture, without any severe deformation, without any unstable condition. Okay, so for that we should select a suitable material, we should select a proper dimensions for the shape and size. That is design process. So how can we avoid this fracture? We can avoid this fracture by designing a component, and that component should meet enough strength, stiffness, toughness, and stability requirements. What are the essential requirements? First one, while designing a member, the member or the component should meet enough strength. Should have enough strength. Second one, it should have enough stiffness. Third one, it should have enough toughness. Fourth one, the stable condition. If for a particular component, if that component satisfies these four criteria, then we can say the component is safe. There will not be any failure, fracture, deformation, and stable failure for that component. First one is strength. What is strength? When we apply an external load on the body, if there is no failure on the body, then we can say the component should possess enough strength. Okay, so when we apply an external force, if the component can resist that external force without any failure, then we can say the component have adequate strength. And how can we develop adequate strength on the component? For the adequate strength on the component should have enough size and shape. So we should, while designing, during the design process, we should select proper size and shape for the component, as well as the appropriate material, the material of the component for the adequate strength of the material without any fracture. So that is the first requirement or first criteria for a safer design. Second one is the stiffness. Stiffness, you already studied what is stiffness. Stiffness is the amount of force required for unit deformations. That is stiffness. So the material should have enough stiffness. The stiffness is nothing but the resistance offered by a body against deformation. That is stiffness. So if a particular component has enough stiffness, then the deformation amount will be very low. The deformation will be very low. So the member should have enough stiffness. How can we attain enough stiffness? By selecting proper shape and size of the component. Okay, so to avoid the severe deformation of the member, we should select a material, shape, size with enough stiffness. And third one is toughness. Toughness is actually for a member subjected to dynamic loads. So during dynamic loading conditions, there may be impact loads. For example, when I strike this body with a hammer, that is an impact force. So dynamic loading conditions or during impact loading condition, the body should have enough capability to absorb the energy. If the body has enough capability to absorb the energy, then we can say the body has enough toughness. So energy absorbing capacity of the body is called toughness. So we should select a material with a high toughness value for the application, mainly in dynamic loading conditions or during impact loading conditions. So toughness is also an important criteria for a body which is mainly used in dynamic loading conditions. And next one is stability conditions. Every component should have a tendency to retain its original shape and size under equilibrium conditions when external load is acting. Similar to this column. Under external load P, the column tried to maintain the equilibrium condition, is stable condition. But if we increase the load P, at some point it may lose its stable conditions and leads to unstable condition. So while designing any structure member, it should have enough stability requirements. So these are the 4 criteria which we consider while designing a component. The component should have enough strength, should have the enough strength is to avoid this fracture failure, should have enough stiffness to avoid severe deformation, should have enough toughness, and that is for absorbing energy during impact loading conditions, should be stable to avoid this unstable failure conditions. So while designing, we ensure these 4 conditions while designing any structure members: strength, stiffness, toughness, and stability requirements. So the main principal objective of the mechanical solid is to provide us with some rational rules for the design of any structure member or any machine elements based on the consideration of strength, stiffness, toughness, and stability conditions. So we should consider these 4 criteria while designing any member. So that is the objective of mechanical solids. So by studying these mechanical solid subjects, we can safely design different types of structures. For example, the aeroplane, antenna, bridge structures, machines, motors, ships, spacecraft, anything, any structures can be designed safely by applying the fundamentals of the mechanics of solids. And most of our physical structures are composed of different components. For example, when we consider this pen has different components. It has cap, a clip, refill. There are different components for this structure. Similarly, any component, any engineering component, physical system is built using different components. So while designing any component using the fundamentals of mechanical solids, we should ensure these 4 conditions. What are the strength condition, the stiffness condition, the toughness condition, and the stability requirement conditions. And by considering these 4 conditions, we can design any structure member components without any fracture in a safer manner. So that is the main objective of the mechanics of solids. So by studying mechanics of solids, you can design any component safely without any fracture by considering these 4 conditions, requirement conditions. So this is the introduction of mechanical solids. Keep these 2 points in mind. Mechanical solids only deals with the deformable bodies, and in mechanical solids we mainly focus on internal effects, not an external effect. What happens outside of this body when it is subjected to external force? That is external effect. But in mechanical solids we are only looking for internal effects. What happens inside the body? What are the reaction or internal force developed inside the body when it is subjected to external loads? So these are the 2 important points. Deformable bodies are used for the analysis, and second one, internal effects. And this is the main difference between the statics, dynamics, and the mechanics of solids. I am finishing this first session. From next class onwards, we are discuss about the different external forces, the loading conditions, and stress, strain associated with the external forces. Thank you.